It's no different than an entrepreneur where you have to set your schedule out, and it can look like you work for yourself, but in reality, if you want to be successful, that takes discipline, right? And it takes refinement. And it's something that I will admit not everybody has, and that's the real issue. You got to know who you marry and who you date. If that person doesn't have that level of discipline and refinement, right, then they probably shouldn't be a stay-at-home person, because you're right, they're not going to be putting in the work.
Okay, no worries. Like I was saying, is that he would be the head. Not to say that he's not gonna like help out at all. Like if I'm cooking, like he should be able to like wash the dishes. If I'm washing the clothes, he can like help fold. Like that's, I don't really believe in like the gender roles that much for that aspect of it. But like the team aspect, he would be like the head of the house, then I would be like, helpmate and stuff like that, because I'm a Christian, so that's like what I believe. But like we are still working together, and like it's not like he's like, I guess, trying to make it seem like still respecting me as his wife, because like my opinions still do matter in the household, but like that's just like what I would see as the team. Like we are a team, but there's still like duties and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. So taking it back to communication, because that's what the clip kind of incited from the lady's perspective. What I often find is a lot of women really don't know what a teammate looks like, especially in a relationship. And this is where it kind of unfolds. To Michelle's point, her situation is different. Military, so I would kind of put that to the side. Basically, most women are not in, military spouses or whatever. But what you typically find hearing from women when they talk about relationship dynamics, they have no idea what it is to be a teammate. They're actually terrible at being a teammate, because in their mind, they know what he's supposed to do. But when you often ask women, well, what exactly are you supposed to do on this team? Because the relationship is a team. And you often find that they kind of don't know and have a clear depiction, which they should know. So basically, if you're afforded the ability, we've talked about this. I didn't take you and make you and park you and put you in the house and say, I'm paying everything. You're aware this is happening. So basically, I'm going to go function, get this money, go do what I got to do. This is my function on this team. That means that there's things that you also have to do. You will be inconvenienced. You will be stressed out. You will have to give energy yourself. But what it seems like is women don't know that, and they start to highlight the little itty bitty instances like, oh, I had to get in the car, back up backwards, jump on the freeway, jump off the freeway, stop at 3 stores. It's like, stop. Where I think women need to work on being better teammates, just in a general perspective, and we can get along, because it shouldn't be that complicated. If you're afforded the opportunity to dictate your household as a housewife, house girlfriend, whatever, this means that you get to take a lunch break when you want. You ain't got no boss mandating, Jack. This is your ecosystem. You are in control. And if to hear hard is kind of like, you got to be kidding me. But I'll let.
Can I give pushback on that? So I do think we had a talking point about it depends on the quality, right, of someone who's staying at home. So for me, right, I'll take, for example, somebody I know who's a stay-at-home mother, right, and she has a background in education. So her day is very scheduled out, right? From what time she wakes up, cooks breakfast, does learning plans, playtime, like, taking the kid to certain classes, coming home for lunch, nap time, cleans up, something like this, right? Her day is fully planned from when she wakes her kid up to when dinner is set on the table, right? And for me, that's not an easy job if you actually are doing your job. See, a lot of people aren't raised right, whether they have a stay-at-home mom or not. And, we throw our kids in daycare and we have no problem paying them and acknowledging, teachers, daycare workers, we really need them, right? Because most of y'all couldn't take care of your kids during COVID. Y'all was begging for school to open back up. Let's be honest. Y'all realize raising these kids ain't as easy. Teaching them the things that they need to be taught isn't an easy job. So that's why I said it does depend on the quality of stay-at-home person we're talking. Let's just say it's my friend, right, who's actually organized, doing the activities, doing the things. It's no different than an entrepreneur where you have to set your schedule out, and it can look like you work for yourself, but in reality, if you want to be successful, that takes discipline, right, and it takes refinement. And it's something that I will admit not everybody has. And that's the real issue. You got to know who you marry and who you date. If that person doesn't have that level of discipline and refinement, right, then they probably shouldn't be a stay-at-home person, because you're right. They're not going to be putting in the work. But I think, there's a number of people out there, and we're seeing even people on YouTube who are real homemaking now, right? They're making bread from scratch. They're doing all these things and sewing and doing all these things to contribute to the household. And so when is it Michelle? Michelle said like he just worked. Now being in the military, I have military family. It's a strenuous job. Never want to join. God bless all of our veterans and people who are currently serving and fighting overseas and at home, right? I think it's a little bit different. The level of stress and struggle that they're dealing with going to be different, right? Because you're literally putting yourself on the line and different things. But for the average person, where a man is working and a woman is staying home, those dynamics don't always have to be, oh, you just get to be a stay-at-home mom. Like I said, if the quality of the person isn't that great, sure. But if you're actually doing it right, you should be clocking in those 8 to 8 hours, like the 9 to 5.
Can I just add one more point to that? That's the reason why I said, and what she's saying, that is true. Like, people are doing that. Do I think it's the majority of people? No. So I do agree with Willie and what he's saying. Like, what people are doing, they can't really see it as like a hard work, because not a lot of people are doing above and beyond when it comes to things like that. But that's how it should be done. Like, it shouldn't be to where you're sitting down on the couch half of the day and you're watching TV, and then like if you're doing it properly, it really should be a system at home. But I don't think people understand that. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
It's unfortunate that stats like this exist, but here's one that's popular amongst military personnel. 60% of the military lives above their means. Of that 60%, 90 of them have spouses that add to bills. So when we say living above your means, like in Michelle's case, again, living above your means or living within your means mean not doing anything that will cost you or have you to have a financial requirement you can't meet, such as having additional children. When in the military, birth control is free, medical is free. Having to not understanding that the sacrifice isn't just a service member, it's going to be you. Nobody should get with someone in the military or in any government structure when their pay is something you can find on Google. An E1 in the military makes around $14,000 a year without BAH. With it, he'll make around 35, 36, depending on where he is. So people, when you have service members getting married, this is part of the counseling they get, because it's important for them to understand this, that, hey, you make this 40 grand now, you have a baby, that you cut that in, it's 18,000 because the kids are going to cost so much. And that's one of the things like that we have an issue with, is that we see like dependents complaining about things. Like, and it's not the same thing as a civilian complaining about it. I still feel the same way. However, a military spouse has 1,000% more support than a civilian woman would, who was just married to someone that's a stay-at-home mom. A lot of the dependents in the military are stay-at-home moms because they leverage the support they have. So like when we hear stories, like I just know better. Like it got so bad, like I wouldn't approve chicks like request to go get married for people that were under E5, because I knew what was going to happen to them. And it's then now I'm dealing with the spouses calling, and then you get deployed, and it's just a shit show. But when we're talking about like that woman, she probably, that's what a lot of military dudes deal with. Those are the kinds of women that a lot of military guys could deal with. Like, he's been gone, he's been at work for 10 hours. So she wants him to come back in the house and take over because, she's been with the kids all day. Like, that's not her job.
Well, you can say that when somebody is a little bit more educated, but we married right after high school. I was 17, he was 19, and he got deployed immediately after. So, I mean, we were kids. And we had to, learn. And for the most part, throughout majority of his, time in the military, he was deployed. So I have to do the work. And yes, we chose to have children, and we knew that it was going to be hard. But we also chose to have children because we also know that his presence in this earth was not guaranteed, that he might go deployed and he'll come back in a casket, which he actually did. So me having my children, knowingly that we're going to be expensive, yes, but we did it because I also understood that was the only piece of him that I could have if he was gone, which actually happened. So you can try to educate me all you want about finances, but we did what we needed to do, and then I continue to do that on his absence.
There's nothing wrong with that. And again, sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Crazy.
sorry for your loss, but
He
I
made the
do want to
ultimate
highlight
sacrifice.
two things. One thing that Willie said, and one thing that you said, Michelle. So Willie, I think, well, not I think when women say, and I've heard this so many times, even with my own circle, when women say, well, it's just, it diminishes the role immediately. So I would never discredit a man going to work. I think men have, especially black men, have the weight of the world on their shoulders, and we don't understand a lot of times the pressure. And I've shared this so many times, just in general, my own podcast. But Michelle, I don't see her complaining. I think that it's just that wordplay as far as just. And I think that sometimes we have to, it's not about giving somebody credit for, give them a pat on the back. Oh, you went to work today. Great job. Oh, you stayed home today. You made all the breakfast, dinner. Great job. It's about just being appreciated no matter what role you have every day. That's going to allow you to come home and be happy and not want to just drive past and sit in your car. I know for me, when in my past relationship, I was a helpmate. Yes, I worked full time. He worked full time, but you best believe I did whatever he needed to do, whatever he needed me to do. I made his lunch every day without any complaints. We took turns taking care of the kids, picking them up from, different places with sports or things like that. We, tag teamed. All right, look, you got this, I got that. Cool. It was great communication. So we knew what each other was doing, but I would never take away from, which is it, I'm sorry, Cheyenne, the hierarchy, because I think that's important. I do believe in a sense of gender roles. I do believe that the man is leading, and they should have a level of respect. I just think it's that play on words when we say just, it just diminishes that, and I think that that's a trigger for men.